Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we make sense of confusing corporate filings. Today we are diving into Castle Biosciences' proxy statement. Get ready, because it has everything from director elections to a proposal about limiting officer liability, which is kind of like giving them a get-out-of-jail-free card, but not really. Let's get to the main points. This proxy statement is basically a rulebook and sales pitch rolled into one. It tells you what's up for a vote at their annual meeting and why you as a shareholder should care. First things first, what's on the ballot? We have the election of 3 directors, a vote to approve their accounting firm, an advisory vote on executive pay, and that liability proposal we mentioned earlier. The board is pretty much saying vote yes to all of it. Now, why should you listen to them? Well, Castle had a pretty good year. Their full year revenue increased by 51% over the previous year, and they delivered a whole lot more test reports. They are sitting on a pile of cash too. This company is about improving health by providing innovative tests to better guide the treatment of patients. The board also did a stockholder outreach. Basically, they listened to the stockholders and shareholders and engaged with them to better make long-term choices for the company. They want everyone to know they're listening. They even made changes to their executive compensation program, trying to keep everyone happy. Let's talk about those Class 3 director nominees. We have Kimberly Capel, who just retired from Thermo Fisher Scientific, bringing all sorts of science and healthcare experience. G. Bradley Cole, with his financial background and experience at Genomic Health, and the CEO Derek Maetzold, who has been with the company since the beginning. Here is something interesting, governance highlights. The board is committed to good corporate governance. They have this director time commitment policy, basically saying directors cannot spread themselves too thin with other commitments. A clawback policy where they can recover incentive compensation if something goes wrong, and stock ownership guidelines to ensure everyone is invested in the company's success. For the stock ownership guidelines, the CEO is required to maintain 3x base salary, all other officers 1x base salary, and the directors 3x annual cash retainer. Moving on to how the executives get paid. It is worth noting that they do not have a lot of perks like private jet, no special health benefits, etc. They try to be pay for performance. Now let's talk about that interesting proposal 4 about limiting officer liability. It's a bit technical, but here is the simple version. They want to change the rules so officers are not held personally liable for mistakes as long as they were acting in good faith. This is not without risks, as it may result in not being careful, but in general it is for the benefit of the officers. Switching gears, let's check out the numbers from KPMG, the company's accounting firm. Audit fees are up a bit from last year, but nothing too crazy. Remember that stockholder outreach they mentioned? Well, it seems like stockholders wanted a say in how the executives are paid. So they are having another vote. The board wants you to approve their executive pay. Time to see who owns the most shares. BlackRock, Vanguard, and Wasatch Advisors are the big players. Maetzold, the CEO, owns a decent chunk himself. It's always good to see the people in charge have skin in the game. Let's meet the team. Derek Maetzold is the president and CEO. Frank Stokes is the CFO. Tobin Juvenal is the chief commercial officer, and Kristen Olshager is the chief operating officer. The company's goal is to attract, retain, and motivate executives by offering competitive pay with a good mix of salary, bonuses, and stock. They use short-term and long-term rewards in hope that it will improve the company's performance and value. They conducted another stockholder outreach in 2024. They reached out to 60% of their then outstanding stock, and then they held the ones that expressed interest. The goal is to make sure executives do not take on inappropriate risk for their performance. They try to not focus on short-term and ensure alignment with long-term interests. To make sure their pay is okay, they compare themselves to peers. These are other companies in similar areas and size. Now for the ingredients of this executive compensation soup: base salary, cash bonuses for hitting goals, and stock-based awards for long-term growth. They try to tie pay to how well the company does. In 2024, they made 128.8% of corporate performance goals, which meant the CEO got 128.8% of their target bonus. Other executives got 128.0% of theirs, not bad. To ensure executives and directors act like owners, they have stock ownership guidelines. The CEO needs to hold stock worth 3 times their base salary, other officers 1 times their salary, and directors 3 times their annual cash retainer. The board knows of no other matters that will be presented for consideration at the annual meeting. Finally, the last appendix. This section provides the amendment and restatement of the company's certificate of incorporation. Okay, let's step back and look at the big picture. Castle Biosciences is in a growing industry with a solid strategy and strong growth, as evidenced by this SEC filing. They seem committed to listening to their shareholders, which is always a good sign. There are always risks for every company, but they seem aware and at least trying to account for them. Overall, this looks like a well-managed company with a focus on growth and accountability. Keep an eye on their revenue and how they manage those executive compensation packages. Those will be key indicators of their future success. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more Corporate Decoder deep dives.